Okay, try number 4. Sorry about that, everyone. Fundamentally, I just made a mistake, so we should be good now. I need to import the teams, and then I need to make some changes. Looks okay based on what I heard earlier. Go to configure teams. I need to flick these all on. And just so everyone understands, I'm doing this because it prevents the CPU from trying to do trades and also jumping me on the just going faster than I'm going to be able to keep up with. Let's switch teams. We'll just go to Pittsburgh. So I have to process some draft picks, trades real quick. So let me do this. Miami did start with San Diego. And then we will dive right into the draft. So let me see. You guys would have to ask me that. Let's see if I can't do this without messing up. Da, da, da. Um, Okay, so I'm gonna do these now that I've given people the link. And again, apologies if you were on earlier. Having a little bit of an issue with some of my technical stuff today. Uh, okay. And so Miami, San Diego, Miami sends the second round of Denver, second round of Cleveland, second round of Miami, third round of Miami, all the seal to Chargers for their first round pick. Should be 4 on one side, 1 on the other. Oh, that's good. Go to New Orleans. So send this one. 5th. I'm looking for the 5th. This one. This one. This one. This one. 4th. Next deal. And 5th. For the Saints first round pick. Okay, so that should be all the trades. Just make sure everything's good. Okay, let's cancel that. Just waiting for some people to join and then we will get started. So, couple of things about this year's draft. This is probably not going to be as strong of a draft as most people are used to, mostly just because of the fact that this was a down year for the league that feeds this, SNCFL. And also I am trying some new analytics to see if I can't make some changes to make this a little bit differently. That one's right, so get rid of these. And behind the scenes, I'm just getting rid of 2 things that I messed up with. So see if I can't get the. Okay. So we should be good there. I'll bounce between screens. So I'm gonna go ahead and start the video and then we can go from there. So um, hopefully some people join, but let's just go ahead and get started. So we'll advance. So as I mentioned before, this is, well, I'll stop talking while the video's going on. So Indianapolis will have the first this is public, it is now. So as mentioned before, all the trades have been processed. Sorry, there was an issue where I accidentally made this video private. So I'm gonna pause this real quick. And just kind of talk about the draft class real quick. Look at the war room. So we are on 2026. There are some issues. Like you notice, Miami's not picking versus Indianapolis. Also, there's some issues with when you do this in the offline mode, the button won't show up. Now I'm in as the commissioner, so I shouldn't see that at all. But in talking about this draft, there are a couple people who I think are fundamentally generational players in this draft. Ralph Ingle comes to mind, really strong guard out of Central Florida, moves well, blocks well, strong. I don't think Brady Dawkins is a generational player, but I do think he's a future All-Pro. Charles Locklear and Carl Roth, there's a debate about which one of these is better. I think Locklear is probably faster than Roth, but Roth, I think, is a better overall wide receiver. And then you have a couple other people in this draft at free safety that may turn out to be really strong players. And then, of course, I think the one person that is probably going to get overlooked throughout this draft and reminds me of either, I hate to say Eric Dickerson because it's easy when he's from SMU, but Clark Farrell. I think he's a generational running back. And he's in the mold of Nathan Ford, Lackey, Andrew Leonard, those type of folks. Well, he's probably going to have a really solid career. Now, there are some injury concerns. Andrew Gregg is a guy to keep an eye on from defensive end. He's probably the best end in this draft. And again, I've been wrong about this stuff before, so take that with a grain of salt. But Charlie Folsom, Robert Shipley, the two free safeties I'm talking about, this is not a year to get a quarterback. If you're going to get a quarterback, I'd wait till the later first round because I think the quarterback stock is pretty weak. I think the two best quarterbacks are Glenn Brewer and Brock Hart. Hart had a really great career at Colorado State, but he's not known. He's a Colorado State quarterback, which means he's not known for having an arm. Now, there is one quarterback in Hill who is really, really intriguing because he may have a max stat. But we'll see how that plays out. I'm not going to mention his name to see if anyone locks on to that. So without further ado, we're going to get started. I will be picking for the CPU today, mostly just because I want to make sure that they don't do some weird stuff. Again, we are in 2026, so if we run into bugs, definitely don't get mad at me. There's nothing I can do about it. I am also going to try to move this draft along pretty fast. So Indianapolis is up. We'll take a look at what they need. Kind of already know what they need, but at the same time, um, just want to make sure that I'm picking right for them. So Indianapolis, with the first round pick, will select Brady Dawkins, tackle from Nebraska. Come on. Um, so let me jump over here. Colts select, and this will bring Soa on the clock, I believe. And we'll see what he is going to pick, or if he wants me just to use his draft thing. If it is, that is his pick, it's a pretty good pick. Okay. And so just go draft recap real quick. So owns the next two picks. So Brady Dawkins, 93 overall, 92 strength, 68 intelligence, 62 speed, 84 pass blocking, 88. Again, mentioned concerns around his endurance, but is solidly a good player, although he's not a team player. See if he has any witty athletes. A good social type, by the way, to have. Social types do matter more than they used to. Let's go to open room, war room. Call Roth, which is a good pick. Um, and Clark Farrell. So he's going after the people who may really be the big name players. So Clark Farrell. Okay, and who's up next? Seattle Seahawks are up next. I will take their pick. But let's look at what Soa got. So Soa, Carl Roth, the wide receiver from the University of Maryland, 91 agility, 61 intelligence, 88 speed, 97 hands, 84 endurance. Really great work ethic, good team player. Um, no stats, but inquisitive professional is also another one of those good social types to have. So overall, pretty solid wide receiver. Had a good career at Maryland. SMU, Clark Farrell, 90 overall, 80 strength, 75 agility, 93 speed, 72 hands, 95 endurance. Not a leader, not great team player, but you can see got work ethic, got competitiveness, really solid running back. Didn't have a great career, but he's a power runner too. So overall, so a really good pick. Sorry, Stuart. Um, so with the Seattle Seahawks on the board, we'll take a quick look into what they need. Um, I'm not drafting a fullback or a punter. So they need cornerbacks. With that, generally the way I try to operate is I try to pick. This year I'm going to try to pick the highest rated one. I do try to steer clear of people I think that others would go after. But in this case, it'll be Don Devine out of UCLA. Seahawks, select Don Devine. And next person up is the New Orleans Saints, who again is me. Just make sure I'm not missing something. Okay. Good news for you, Stuart. There is someone who's talking to me about taking over the Seattle Seahawks. So they may not actually be, may not be CPU for long. Go back to team recap. This is New Orleans. A good team, just perpetually not performing well. They don't really need anything. I'm tempted to let the CPU just pick Hill. No, I'm not going to let them pick him though. So they are going to select. I could do it, and that would probably make him mad, but I won't do it. So they'll select Dennis Keene. probably misspelled his name, and I did, but I'll fix that later. Which now brings us to the Philadelphia Eagles, who are also on CPU, but let's look at these real quick. Don Devine, uh, not the best stats in the world. Great hands, definitely going to be a ball hawk. Hopefully he can build into a speed. He's got the work ethic to do it. Probably got nerfed pretty hard by the nerfle. Dennis Keene, again, not fast, but good tackler, solid in most aspects of the game. Really good linebacker, frantic jock, which could be a little bit of an issue, but probably not the best pick in the world. If we look at the Philadelphia Eagles, who are up next, looking at my little cheat sheet about what they need. They don't really have a need for anything. Next year I may look at actually forcing trades. So they're going to go defensive tackle. They will go David Sutherland. Yeah, I don't, Stewart. I don't think he's gonna be wasted. I think that I'm hoping that this coach will join us. And if he does, then we should be good. Buffalo Bills again, another CPU team. Uh, they have need on the offensive line pretty bad. But I think in looking at their line, they are probably going to go tackle. Actually, they're going to go center. They'll draft Brandon Sanchez. And that brings us to New England, who is, see if Shark's around. He may not be. I think he has a list, so. He has a list, so I'm comfortable if he doesn't jump on that. That's probably his pick. So we'll look at the draft recap real quick. So David Sutherland, one of the players I brought into Colorado with my 0 to hero, 66 speed, 66 tackling, 88 strength, solid defensive tackle, not all that. He's definitely not a speed rusher, but solid career, 20 sacks you can see. Proud scholar, again, good personality trait. I keep mentioning that that's going to play more and more into how people react. And then Brandon Sanchez, 81, 70, 57, pretty solid center out of Western Michigan, was probably recruited way back when by Stewart. Zealous workaholic is a good trait to have, especially with a good work ethic. And we'll give this a second or two and then we'll get started. I'll bounce between some of these channels. So far, Brady Dawkins, Carl Roth, Clark Farrell, all off the board. Yeah, he does look like one of your recruits. He's solid across the board. For those of you who don't know, Stewart is one of the people who recruits extremely well. He turned Western Michigan into a Powell before he dropped him. And let me see. So I think that will be good. I'm going to go ahead and make this pick only because I'm a little bit on a clock. So let's go back to the war room. Kind of expected Ingle to go sooner, but I think that puts Soa on the clock if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Soa's on the clock. He's already getting though. Yeah, I'll look at the prestige system, Stuart. That kind of was one of the weird ones. So Ralph Ingle, the guard out of Central Florida, 96 overall, 91 strength, 65 agility. 76 intelligence, 88 and 85, 69. Really good stats across the board. Stubborn rebel that could cause a little bit of a problem in the locker room, but really, really solid guard. Getting for 8 million is a really good pick, though. So there'll be a slew of CPUs coming up. I think I don't know if Prince. I think Prince uploaded something, and he's gonna go with James Whitson. Open war room. Let's find Mr. Whitson. Whitson is a cornerback, if I remember correctly. McClell. Quarterback. Okay, Mr. Whitson is selected. We'll take a look at him real quick before I do a rapid succession of picks. If anyone wants to do a trade, you just DM me or let me know and I'll slow down, but otherwise I'm going to keep plowing through. So Whitson, 84 overall, 83 agility, 66 intelligence, 90 speed. He's one of the faster cornerbacks in this draft. 59 hands, 48 tackling, 82. He's out of Clemson, played for Matt. See a solid career though, 14 interceptions. Really good pickup though for the Dolphins. So we'll move to. We will move on to Kansas City and take a quick look at what they need. They will go defensive tackle. They will pick up Juan Cooper out of. Actually, no. They do Ortega. Edward Ortega. And up next is. This is just throwing me because it's not Denver. It's Green Bay. So Green Bay needs a. Oops, on the screen. It's too early to take a tight end. They will pick up Joel Lackey. Packers select. Someone say do Joel Lackey. Demo's on the clock. I don't. Let's see if Prince is around. I don't see Prince, so it looks like he has something. We'll go ahead and keep going. Michael Oldham. And I'll take a quick break just to look back at these real quick. So Edward Ortega is out of Temple, 80 overall, 83 strength, 70 tackling, 64 speed, 78. Decent, a little bit weaker at the line of attack, so you probably don't want him playing nose tackle. Stubborn Scholar again, that can create some issues. Joel Lackey he's really a box safety, but you see he has great agility, good strength, good intelligence, can make tackles, got good hands. Definitely, if you work on his speed a little bit, he can turn into a future All-Pro. Really solid out of Temple for Green Bay. And then Michael Oldham, again, really strong tackler. Speed can be worked on. He's got all the right stats for it. Very intelligent, very agile for linebacker. Pretty strong for linebacker too. And he's a coverage linebacker, which means that he'll get bonuses whenever he's in coverage, even though his speed may not. So you play him in zone, I think he's actually pretty good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to what you do at Georgia State, Stuart. I think that should be really cool. So the Falcons are now up, unless, okay, Shark. So we'll take a look at what they need. Falcons are a pretty solid team if you want to join the league and take them. The only challenge with the Falcons is they're in the same division as Invisible Witness. So that may not end well. They will probably take a. Looks like they need a. They don't need a running back. They've got a running back. They'll take a defensive end. They'll take Swearing. Falcons select defensive end Keith Swearing, and that's a heck of a name from Duke. Another one of Stewart's players. Up next is Houston, who is on CPU. Next two picks are CPU. Take a look at what they need. Again, they don't really need much. They have a good free safety. I shouldn't waste it on that. They will go guard. So we'll go Badgel. And I have an internal list that I use for the CPU teams. Just trying to build them up and make sure that they're competitive. So open war room. This will be the Ravens, who are extremely good. I do need to look at something with them though. Just give me a second. I want to. The Ravens are like stacked at quarterback again. Not a year to get a quarterback. They do need a guard though. They will go a King. And this will bring us to Udo. Udo has a list, I believe. Hopefully his list hasn't been eviscerated. Just make sure again I'm on the right team. Yep. So they will select. Commanders, select wide receiver, Charles, Lock, Well, at DWK, so DWK is on the clock. And we'll go back and take a look at these while DWK takes a look. Hey, John, how are you doing? Teamwork, draft recap. Here we go. So Keith Swearing and defensive end, great speed, good tackling, good intelligence. Agility could be better. He has good strength, especially on the end, and decent work efforts. And is a speed rusher, so that will mean that he gets points around that. So all in all, really good defensive end out of Duke. Probably was one of the bookends for, probably wrong term, but was one of the strong ends for a really good pass rushing defense out of Duke, which is Stewart's team. Hector Badgel, missed that one. Kansas State, pretty solidly strong, good agility, good intelligence, got good movement, really good run blocker, maybe not as good of a pass blocker. He is an athletic blocker, so he'll get battle that can be built, but that's mostly physical, so that could be a problem down the road. Baltimore Ravens, I thought King was maybe the second best behind Ingle. 83 strength, 51 agility, 55 intelligence. Speed isn't great, but he's a guard, so it doesn't matter as much. Pass blocking is solid, run blocking solid. He's got good stats. Thoughtless player, that's not one of those social types that you want. That means he's not going to be a team player. So, yeah, but you'll be back. And we will go to Charles Locklear. Uh, Udo gets a really good wide receiver. As you can see, him and Roth were kind of battling. Speed isn't elite, but 88 isn't bad. 86 is a really good set of hands, really good agility. Intelligence, the only knock I had on him, but you can see his ethic and his team player stats are through the roof. So as cohesion comes in, he's going to be able to build cohesion with his quarterback a lot more than others will. Solid career out of Boston College, kind of flew under the radar, but was one of the reasons why Boston College was so solid. Go back to the war room and just wait to see if this is what DWK wants. Is Charlie Folsom, who I think is going to be a solid pick. Him and Robert Shipley, you're going to notice a battle like between UCLA and Maryland throughout most of the day. These are two of the elite teams in the SNCFL. UCLA, of course, is one of Stewart's team. Maryland, of course, is mine. They are just like factories with pumping out elite talent. Georgia uh, will probably show up more in the next draft. Georgia just this draft was kind of a down cycle for most teams because a lot of the coaches in SNCFL actually do play people from freshman to senior. So you'll see some interesting down years here or there. But in this case, Georgia should have a really good class next year. And I think the year after, if I remember correctly. Clemson's another team to keep an eye on because that's Matt. Georgia, of course, is Shark. And then I think over time you will start to see some of the other schools that coaches have, like SMU, starting to come up. That's Tony. He's done a really good job with SMU. Gonna go Brinkley. Okay. Let me find him real quick. Defensive end Walter Brinkley out of USC. So this is one of Van's, although Van didn't recruit him. So let's take a look at him, and now also give me an idea who's up next, which are the Bengals, which are on CPU. Walter Brinkley, 75 speed, 69 tackling, 78 strength, 53 agility, 44 intelligence, 57 good work ethic. All in all, pretty solid player. Got really good skill. He's a bull rusher, which means that he will get some additional stats. 19 sacks out of USC. Really solid pick. Especially for where we are in the draft, which is pick 17. So good pickup though, DWK. Cincinnati. Let's see what they need real quick. I hate picking for my own rivals in my division. Quarterback is so solid. Also, it's not a year to get a quarterback. Running backs are okay. The guards are really strong. Their tackles are really strong. They have too many centers. They could go tight end, but there isn't really a tight end now. They could go wide receiver. Actually, they may go wide receiver. Although they need linebackers too. The linebackers are really good. Defensive tackle could go there. They're going to go wide receiver. They'll go Willie Gas. Bengals. Select Willie Gas, wide receiver. Okay. And that brings us to, it's not Chicago. It is Tampa Bay. I think, if I remember correctly, I don't see him on. Okay. So they will select Bucks, select Charlie Folsom, safety. Which now brings us to Chicago. So I don't know if Cotton's around. Yeah, he is. So let him know. Okay, so if we look at this, Willie Gass, wide receiver, 90 speed, 83 hands, 76. Maybe not as good in the agility in the hands department, but a really solid wide receiver. He's a deep threat too, which will only add, again, recruited by Stewart, so it makes sense. Tampa Bay Bucks, 86 speed, that's not bad for a free safety. 78 tackling, really good for a free safety. Good hands, good endurance, really good agility. He's strong, he can play into the box, and he is a box safety. That's a solid pick. So where are we? Sorry, I'm bouncing behind screens. Yeah, sorry, Stuart. Um, I already missed Shipley, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Gerard Coppola. Okay, Mr. Coppola. Check all. He should be up near the top. There he is. Okay, and up next is the LA Rams. Now I need to check something real quick. I may need to process a trade here, so give me a second. Completed. Okay, so we have a trade that I need to process real quick, so let me do that. Offer trade, BLA, and invisible witness. So it'll be Carolina. Hate that does that. And so it'll be 132. So it's this pick, that pick, 332, 432, 523, 532, 6, 7. It's 262, so everything but his second. Okay. And of course, I have to go back into the draft. So Carolina now has this pick. We'll pause the draft. Processed. Let me let him know. Okay, so let's see. He'll go back to draft recap. Oh, I need to show Coppola. Coppola, 82, 83, 55 speed, 66 intelligence, 60 agility, 73 strength. Really solid guard. And he's a driven joker, which is not a bad trait. So really solid pickup on the inside. More guards are probably going than I thought. So up next is Invisible, followed by Bio, followed by Starfinder, Superman, and then Oakland is on CPU. Then we have Bama, Prince Bama, Templar, Stewart, myself. New Orleans is CPU. And then we won't do the 32nd pick because I need to allow for scouting to happen. And I'll do that. Okay, what's me is in game list? Hopefully it hasn't been shredded. Noble Rivera. Okay. Carolina. Flex. Noble. Rivera. Wide receiver. I think Bio's up next if he's on. Go Hill. I don't see him on, but he had a list, so I'll just ping him real quick. I put it in the wrong channel. Panthers select. Okay, we'll give that a second, and then we will go from there. Noble Rivera is 88 speed, 88 hands, 81 overall, 59, 66, good intelligence, pro bloodline. That will contribute some good stats. You can see across the board he's just strong. So really good pickup out of Pittsburgh for them. So Cleveland is up next. I think I put that wrong. And we'll give it a second just to see if bio's on. I don't see him on, so I'm going to go with his pick. Donald Jones, this should be a good pick. So let's look at that real quick. Donald Jones, wide receiver out of Vanderbilt, 88, 87, 70. Solid pick. Intelligence could use some work, but overall, really good, solid pick for Cleveland as they continue to really try to build off their performance this year. So Starfinder is up now. I don't see him on, but I'll ping him real quick. Let's go here. He has a list, so I'm not worried if he's not. So far, a lot of guards going, some tackles, wide receiver. We really haven't seen a quarterback yet. And I think when I look at the list of people, there are still some really, really strong, good people on that list from what I remember seeing in my big board. I'll just talk really quickly about them, not trying to influence. Brock Harkin and Brewer, I don't think that they're bad quarterbacks. I just think you need to temper your expectations with them. They are probably not day one starters. They are likely like second, third year starters. Shipley, I think, is a day one starter. Carl Adams, I think, could be a day one starter. Dan Rose, I think, is one of the best linebackers in the draft. James Rowe, I think he's a year two starter, maybe year three starter. Greg, I think, is someone who's pretty solid at defensive end. I'm not sure about Burks. I can't get a good read on him at all. Ricky Trujillo, I think, is solid, will be a solid starter, maybe nothing spectacular. Pick out a couple. Jason Gray, I think, is the second best running back in this draft. Mark Mendenhall could be a really good quarterback, but he's more of an accuracy quarterback, if I remember correctly. Sean Carmichael's up there, of course. Kyle Gunn, I think, is someone who's going to be pretty special. Juan Cooper, the same. So I'm going to go ahead and make this pick. Elvin Osborne, Vikings select running back Elvin Osborne, and go from there. So that brings us to, I believe that this is going to be Prince. No, Superman. I haven't seen him upload in a bit. Let's see what he needs. Is he on? No. Do this real quick. He has a lot of needs. Who's his quarterback? Now would be about time that I could see one of the quarterbacks going off the board. He doesn't have a great quarterback. We go Brock Hart. Okay. Which will now get us, I think, to Oakland. Used to be Peter's team, used to be really stacked, starting to fall off a little bit by the wayside because of CPU. They still have Adam Johnson, though. They still have Baker. They still have Easterling. They still are a very, very dangerous team. Um, he would probably needs a linebacker. Should just invite Peter back to make a pick for himself. They'll go Gallagher. Raiders. Select linebacker, kill Gallagher. Take a look at him in a second. I think that Prince is now on the board. Just make sure of that. Yes. So if we look at Elvin Osborne, 96 speed, 55 hands, 57 intelligence. He is a speed back. Got good agility, got good strength. Hands are the only concern I would have with him, but he's out of Duke, another one of Stewart's. Power runner means that he's just going to bowl people over. The only thing you got to worry about is can he hold on to the ball. Brock Hart, who I thought was one of the top quarterbacks, is Colorado State. 81 arm, 87 intelligence, 88 accuracy. Not bad. Probably a second year starter. You develop him a little bit. Got really good skills minus leadership. Driven baller. That means he's just going to work that much harder. So solid pick for the Lions. Kiro Gallagher. You can see this a lot with the linebackers this year. They're not as fast as years past, but most of them are very short tacklers. Endurance is not where it needs to be. Polite baller, probably not what you want in a linebacker. We'll go to War Room. I don't see Prince on, so he's going to select Dan Rose. Broncos select linebacker Dan Rose. Keep drifting through here. Dan Rose, we'll take a look at him right now. I'm curious about him because I had him rated high, which will bring Bama up. 81 speed, 93 tackling, 51 intelligence, 76 agility, 65 strength. Good stats across the board. Competitive professional. It's a place that he's a very solid linebacker. Would probably be the best way to put it. See if Bama's able to. I think I have Bama's list anyways. Let me look at Bama's list. Where are you, Bama? There you are. See my list of priority. He's gone. Okay. It'll be Cooper. It'll be Gun. Make sure I got that right. Yes. So we'll go back. Titans select cornerback Kyle Gun. Now we are on to the Cowboys. See if Templar's on. He is not, but he normally has a list. War Room. He's going with Shipley. Okay, and that will bring us to Mr. Stewart, who probably has had his draft board busted. I know my board is at Pittsburgh is completely busted at this point. So while we wait for him, in fairness, I did not pick Dan Rose. That was Prince, so I can wash my hands of that one. Kyle Gunn, Tennessee Titans, 92 speed. Again, one of the fastest cornerbacks in the draft. 47 hands, 51 tackling, good intelligence, really good agility. Not the biggest, not the strongest. He's 6'1", 180 out of East Carolina. Good stats still. He's a slot corner, so that will help, especially if he's in nickel formations. So really good pickup there by Bama. Templar gets Robert Shipley, 87 speed, 68 hands, 66 tackling, 68 intelligence, 87 agility. Very smart box safety, and that's how he played at Maryland. But he could also drop back into coverage. As you can see, sacks, interceptions. That's roughly how he played. He wasn't always the first starter at Maryland, so he didn't have as many things. So really three good picks in a row. Dan Rose, Kyle Gunn, Robert Shipley, really strong. If we look at the war room, depending on what people need, I think Adams is still good. I think Rowe is okay. Greg, if you're looking for a defensive end, I think is probably the guy to go for. Uh, Jason Gray's a good running back if you need that. I think Juan Cooper is someone to take a look at if you need defensive tackle. Uh, Jody Ziegler is another wide receiver I'll take a look at if you're looking for one. Um, and then I think, just because we're getting farther in my mind, I really think Glenn Brewer is better than these guys. The guy I would keep an eye on is Thomas Hutchinson out of Auburn. I think if you are throwing an accuracy system, meaning short passes like West Coast, I think he's a guy that could be a great pick for you. I think Glenn Brewer has a good arm, probably the best arm in this draft. I don't remember who it is, but there's Noah Donaldson is a guy to take a look at, but I'd wait because he got hit pretty hard by the Nerf hammer, I think, because I would expect him to be up there. Maggard had a good career at UNLV. Jonathan Early, the quarterback out of Maryland, I think you're going to have to develop him. He did get hit pretty hard by the Nerf hammer too, um, but it's probably still solid. I just don't know how far he dropped, and a lot of that had to do with some of his like competitiveness and work ethic. Yeah, I my scouts are hit or miss. I don't know how much I trust my scouts anymore, and especially in this one. So, um, just look Hill. I think I'm up after Stewart, so I probably should be thinking about what I want. That would be tough. Um, Pittsburgh. The safeties I wanted all gone because I have to replace Ashbury, who's had a really productive career, but he's starting to get old. Um, my linebacker core is starting to get old. Pittsburgh's entire defense is starting to get old. Um, I could go guard, but I have decent guards. I was going to go quarterback, but I'm not sure about that. I still have London to replace Lackey. Um, and it's not like I have a bad quarterback. I mean, I have Pierce, who's had a productive career so far. And Stewart is going to go row. Okay, so let's go to War Room. Check all. Tackle James Rowe. Okay. Let's see what Mr. Rowe looks like. Um, Rowe is 85 overall, 75 strength, 59 intelligence, 59 speed, 41 agility, 83, 78. Solid player. Um, Workout fanatic means his physical skills are only going to get better. He's also got a really good work ethic, which means he's going to take training really, really well. Can't really play any other position, but solid pick, especially at pick 29. Which brings up the Steelers. Hmm. If I go best player, I'm probably going Gray. I don't need a defensive end. I've picked like in the last 4 years. I could use a wide receiver. Who are my wide receivers again? Deal's getting old. Simmons, Tolliver. I don't need a wide receiver actually. I always go linebacker just because I'm a defensive coach. Yeah, I don't. like what I see in front of me. Eh, You know what? I coached him, so I'll go with him. Glenn Brule. I'm probably going to end up picking up 2 quarterbacks in this draft. So this gets us to New Orleans. And I need to do this one. So, and then we're going to stop Hill because I need to allow for the scouting to happen. Let's see, who do they have? I need to clean up some of these rosters. They're going to go cornerback. Stuart, I know you're feeling I draft back Hill all the time, and I'm always drafting for the best player. Cornerback, they're going to go Maple. Okay. And that will conclude the first round. Let's look at these last few picks. So we have Rowe. I think I already looked at Rowe. Glenn Brule, solid quarterback, kind of similar to Thomas Pierce for me, out of Oregon. I was the one that recruited him because I had Oregon for a while. 86, 83, 86, 68 speed. He can run the ball, but doesn't have the hands for it. Again, durability issues. He's no different than Pierce. Pierce is the same way. Uh, I got to worry about the morale on him. I didn't realize it was horrible, but I'll fix that. So, not a bad quarterback for picking second to last in the round. Maple, 89 speed, 41, 47. Good intelligence, good agility. 6 foot tall, 184. Has good intangibles. And then again, low morale, anxious workaholic, but solid pick for second to last. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the draft. Well, actually, so just general observations, and I'll just do this because I always do this real quick. I still think there's value in the second round. I think Carl Adams is someone I would definitely take a look at if you need a lineman. Greg, I didn't expect him to make it out of the first round. Burks has the potential to be good. He's a hard read for me. My scouts gave me conflicting messages and they don't align with what I think. Um, Gaskins is someone that's kind of a reach. I think if I remember correctly, he's an accuracy quarterback. Um, Trujillo is a guy to take a look at if you need a tackle, and there's no one else. Jason Gray is someone I would look at really hard. Juan Cooper as well. Um, Jody Ziegler, if you're looking for a wide receiver. Arnold Milligan is another running back you can look at. I think Lombard is a different dude that could be really good. I think he may be the best strong safety. Don't quote me on that though. And I will update the big board later, but there's still a lot of value in the second round. In the second round, if you need a tight end, there are 2 good tight ends out there. I would probably say that the tight end that I would look at more, I'm big on Benjamin Thorpe. I think he's a good receiving tight end. I think he's undervalued, but I don't think he's a great blocker. And he's not a converted wide receiver. He's actually a tight end. Um, Wide receiver wise, I mentioned Ziegler. I think Dennis Herman's a guy to take a look at as well. Snodgrass may be one guy to take a look at. I need to look at something though. Thomas Spill is okay. I don't think he's great. Um, I think most of the big guards have come off, and guard is a place where there's kind of a steep drop off after the big boys go off. But tackle, you should find value through the second round, though. Center, I think that there's the potential that the best center is still on the board. Um, but the drop off at center was pretty pronounced. So I'm going to skip those. Defensive tackle, Cooper still there. I think that there's 1 or 2 others, but tackle is like guard. Once the big ones come off the board, you're going to see a really steep drop off. Greg is the best. Lindsey, Wyman, I think are okay. There's a sleeper on this board, or at least I think there is. But again, end is like defensive tackle that once the 3 or 4 big ones come off, they're going to drop. Outside of that, linebacker, I think most of the really good ones have come off, but there's a couple that are, if you're looking for specialty linebackers, I think that this is a place where you could look at that. Um, I think Robert Evans is probably the guy I would look at from Maryland. Jay Richardson out of Georgia, A.O. Grill out of UTEP are still on the board. I really like Evans and Richardson a lot. I would say that they're worth second round value if you want to go up and go after them. And then as we get into cornerback, again, I think most of the cornerbacks, really solid ones, are off the board. Whitson's gone, Gunn's gone, Maple's gone. Abrams Stepp is a guy I would look at out of Maryland. However, understand he's a converted running back. You also have Jamie Farrow out of Louisiana Tech is a guy I would take a long, hard look at. Strong safety, kind of talked about this a few minutes ago. With strong safety, I would say that the best one is still on the board easily. Joe Lackey in my mind was probably the third, but you have Adonai Wilson out of Indiana. You have Tom Morris out of Texas A&M. Just be careful with him because I think I value him high, but he may not be that good. James Lombard out of Notre Dame is another guy I would take a look at. Is he still? Yeah, he's the top one on the board. And then at free safety, you definitely have. You should still have an option. The value in free safety is going to remain for a little bit. You have Michael Contreras out of New Mexico State, or New Mexico, sorry. Yeah, New Mexico State. You have Joe James out of Tulsa, and you have Adam Burks out of Virginia. And again, Burks is just a hard read for me. I'm trying to see if I missed anything in quarterback, and I'm looking at the big board that I've done for this draft. So Brock's gone, Glenn's gone. I think Hutchinson for me is the third, would be a quarterback to look at. Sean Carmichael is another good one, and Ryan Gaskins. So that's it for now. Hopefully, you had fun with this, and I apologize for driving this one pretty fast. But and sorry for the technical difficulties earlier. But thank you for spending time with me this afternoon, and thank you for helping with the draft. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave the draft screen. I'm gonna go ahead and publish and upload this, and I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. Just for those in the league, just remember that tomorrow is a scouting sim. So you should be able to do your scouting for the second round. I will run the first pick tomorrow. Uh, I'm I will import and then run the last pick tomorrow, and then it'll be the whole second round on Monday. So thank you again. Have a great night, and thanks for spending